Miss Donna Mohr.
Hello.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Yeah,
too.
thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. When I started this, I had followed. Well, I knew your son originally from school, and then I started following you on Facebook when you were doing the CBD things, and I was really intrigued by it. So it's awesome to sit down and have a conversation with you.
Thank you. I didn't know you were stalking.
I was stalking you. Yes, I was stalking you on Facebook Live. So we share a very common interest, which is CBD. And I thought it would be cool to talk to you about that because, as you mentioned, I think we're going to turn this into a POTcast today.
That's right.
And I am drinking very refreshing chai tea CBD. It's really, really good. I'll explain where I got it from later. But for the folks at home, why don't you just tell them a little bit about yourself, kind of where you came from and how you got into this whole CBD thing.
Okay. How far back am I going?
Yeah, you can go as far back as you want.
Well, I also went to Pequot Valley. You probably didn't know that. Up until 8th grade, and then moved to Lampeter, Strasbourg, and graduated from there.
Okay.
Moved to the development, which I am actually living in now.
Okay.
So I've lived several places, but we came back. My daughter was living in that development, and we wanted to be close to the kids.
Yeah.
And I knew it was a great place to live. So, but I am married. We've been married. It'll be 40 years in August. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I know. It's pretty much a milestone.
Yeah.
And we have 4 adult children.
Yes.
They are all married. And so far we have 6 grandchildren.
Oh, geez. Okay. You're going to add more?
We will. I hope. I hope. Maybe the girls are finished. Isaac is not.
Okay.
Isaac and Hadassah. And Luke and Victoria haven't gotten started.
Yeah. We got to get you started, Luke, if you're watching this.
That's right. It's time, Victoria.
It's time.
So I was a stay-at-home mom for all of those years. I guess I would say I had the 2 girls before I knew the Lord. I mean, there was stuff, and you know, when you have everything you need and want, and you're not satisfied, you start to look for something else. And I looked out the window and prayed to a God I didn't know, and he just rushed in and answered all those prayers. So
awesome. Then
we had 2 more boys, or 2 more children. They were boys, and thus the Bible names.
Okay.
Luke and Isaac.
Okay.
So once Isaac went to kindergarten, I went back to work part-time at an orthodontic office. I have a dental background.
Okay.
And eventually left there to open a cleaning business. I've scaled that way back. And then meanwhile, I got into network marketing. So I was with a weight loss company, did pretty well with that, lost some weight and helped many people, lose a lot of weight. And then an opportunity came, CBD hit the scene and everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
And getting great results with it. And there was a company that someone introduced me to. And I was like, is this multi-level marketing? And they said, yes. I said, I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in. And then I found out more about it and, learned about the differences in products, what you should take and what is crap. Pardon the simplicity of it. But it is. There's just so much on the market that is not worth taking and sometimes even unhealthy and dangerous.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, when the whole legalize cannabis for recreational and all this was going on, it wasn't legal in a lot of states. CBD was starting to come out. You could get it legally. It was being regulated here and there, and people just didn't know what they were taking. And I can be a testament to that too. So I know I usually have everybody give their story of a testimony, but just a little part of mine for you guys was when I was growing up, I was just really big into the party scene. I think I started smoking marijuana when I was probably 14 years old, I believe. And, we were just doing it just to be cool and everything like that. So then, I got older, and when I was about 18, I was still smoking, not as much, but I was suffering from very heavy anxiety and depression. And it was something that I tried to go to a doctor to, and I was prescribed a medicine. I won't name it, but I'll tell you what, if that didn't make me feel like a zombie waking up. And it was funny, when I had gone, I was a very anxious person, so my right leg would always shake. And that was one thing that the doctor said would go away. And I just remember waking up and I just felt emotionless. I mean, I really felt like a zombie. I can't even describe the feeling. It was just kind of like I was just like I was there, but I wasn't there. You know, I had no type of thoughts or movement or enjoyment or happiness or anything. So I remember I went back to a checkup the one time, and I'm trying to explain this to the doctor, and he just was looking at my leg, and he's like, "But your leg's not shaking anymore. Isn't that awesome?" I'm like, I guess so, but I kind of feeling bad here, buddy. Like, what's going on? So then, against anything I knew at the time, and I could really kick myself in the butt for doing it the way I did it, but I just stopped taking them completely. Ended up finding out, a couple of years later, I could have died from doing that. But praise the Lord, he got me through that. So I had to sit back and think. I wasn't smoking as much, and I was thinking, what made you feel good? So I started using marijuana for medical purposes. I know a lot of people can use that for excuses. I actually did. I was a horrible sleeper. I had crippling depression, anxiety. So smoking marijuana, I would just try to do it at night, and it did wonders. I was still able to feel emotions and yet get rid of the pain that I had. The problem was, I was explaining this to you earlier, I have an addictive personality when it comes to that stuff. So I was never addicted to marijuana, but I was addicted to going through the motions of it. And that's when I realized I had to stop. So I ended up stopping for about 2 years. And it wasn't until, I would say, 2 years ago, I had picked it back up, kind of went through the same motion. I haven't smoked actual marijuana for, I would say, since the end of November of last year. And I was going through that time where I'm like, okay, I have to figure something out here, because if I can't, I don't want the euphoric high of weed, but the properties of it, the way that it would relax me, the way that it would get rid of pain, inflammation, things of that nature. I'm like, I wish I could have that. That's when I found out about CBD. That was back in like 2016. So I actually had found a really cool place. They're out of business now because of the pandemic, and it was really unfortunate because they were great. They had different oil products. They had different hemp leaf products, things of that nature that I was getting. So when they went out of business, I didn't really know what to do. So I ended up just Googling where I could find something of that nature. And I actually Googled the name to see if they had wholesaled or outsourced to anybody. They did not. But there was a name that was similar to it. I found that's about an hour from here, all organically grown at a farmstead. It's actually called Wild Fox Farmstead. That's the tea that I'm drinking. Shout out to Wild Fox Farmstead. The tea, they also make smokable CBD hemp joints, which have been amazing for me. And it was something where I realized, okay, I need to now figure out how to monitor this to where I'm not just taking in all of this CBD and not able to balance it, because I really would like to use it as the medicine that it always was, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The miracle plant.
The miracle plant, yes. So when you first learned about it, what was your main interest in getting into it?
The same thing as most people, health benefits. And the thing is, you go for one health benefit, and as the months go on, other issues resolve. But the issues that you deal with initially, I can say words like sadness and unwarranted stress, but I can't use medical terms. Okay. But you know what I'm talking about. Those are the things that usually resolve very quickly with CBD. And I discovered that for myself. The first one especially, my husband's a great driver, but I'll be in the car riding along and, panicking over nothing. And he's like, I'm fine. I'm like, I know, it's not you, it's me. And when that resolved, I was like, what the heck? Yeah. This is awesome. And then the sadness issue for someone I love dearly, after a few months, I was like, hey, that has gone away for you. What is happening here? Wow. So. Were you more oil-based at the time? Oh yeah. Okay. I have also a salve that I use for muscle soreness and joint sore. See, I can't say the words.
Yeah.
It's just
no, that's fine.
but I use a tincture.
Okay.
And that is the best way to take CBD
yeah.
because you drop it under your tongue and it goes directly into your bloodstream.
Yes.
So you want to make sure what is in the bottle. You want, because hemp, when you grow hemp, it pulls up anything that's in the soil. So if there's any lead or mercury or arsenic or anything in the soil, it's going to be in your oil. So when you're looking for an oil, you want to make sure that there is a certificate of analysis that they used a third party to test it and prove to you that none of those things are in there.
How did they go through with doing that? Just with the different companies that you've been involved with.
The labs?
Yeah.
They find a lab that tests and then they make it available on the website. The company I'm with now tests the plants.
Okay.
They test at different stages of growth, and we only use the bud, no flower, then flower, whatever you want to call it, not the leaves and the stems and the stalks. Some companies will grind up all of that biomass, and it has all the extra things that you don't need that aren't full of cannabinoids. But they take the oil then and test that as well before, the finished product. You have a batch of oil, the lab, will write out a printout of so many things. I mean, the list, you have to be able to see that if you're going to put this under your tongue.
Okay. So do they focus more on like hydroponic growing, or does it matter if you are just using soil that's fertile and doesn't have all the mercury and things in there?
Well, you can clean the soil. Hemp will clean the soil. You just have to take the time to clean the soil. Chernobyl in Russia, the plant the nuclear plant that melted down before you were born.
Yes, way before I was born.
My daughter, I would think it was 86.
Okay.
They use hemp to clean that soil. Now, of course, you're not going to use that hemp for anything. So you need to make sure I don't know anything about hydroponics, growing hemp hydroponically.
Okay.
But we use small farms, less than 10 acres. It's all hand planted.
Okay.
And hand fed nutrients at specific times, and then hand harvested so that.
See, I always thought that they said that growing hydroponically is cleaner because it's just all water based, no soil.
But you're not pulling up the nutrients that are in the soil.
True.
Like sometimes when I buy a hydroponic tomato, I'm like, is there anything in this? I don't know.
Those are the ones that you get to see that are, because if it has more nutrients in it, usually it's smaller, correct? Like the fruits and things. I think I read something on this where if you go to the grocery store and you see just your fruits or your vegetables or all that stuff out there, they're usually smaller, and they're usually bigger because they're mass producing these, so they're not growing them naturally. It's being grown to just ship out to the stores, so all the nutrients are being taken out of it. But if you go to like a farmer's market or an organic store, they'll usually be smaller, and that means it's packed with nutrients. And I think it's the same way with hemp, I believe.
Okay. Well, in the hydroponics, I imagine they must put things in the water. I'm thinking it's not just plain water. I'm processing this out loud.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's the point of this.
Right. I'm like, yeah. So have you heard of growing hemp hydroponically?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I might have done some when I was younger. I'm not going to disclose that, yes or no.
That was a different kind of cannabis.
Yeah, that was a different kind of cannabis. But what's amazing what you're saying too is with the oil. I showed you this earlier too. I had gotten this originally. This was back in 2017, which worked great for me. Put it under the tongue before I even knew how to take it. I was just, a lot of people were saying, oh, put it in your tea, put it in your water. I was just putting it in there. But when I first heard about CBD and, it started like coming out, I was like, oh, wait a minute. So if I have something that is available to me at a gas station, I'm just going to go buy it real quick, not understanding that was cut with so many like vegetable oils and things, and there was really no CBD in it. So what's the best way to go about picking the right CBD? Okay.
Well, you want to read the label. And I'll talk about servings at some point too.
Yeah.
The less ingredients, the better. So you want CBD. It might say cannabidiol. It might say CBD-rich hemp, okay, or other such things. You want to check the carrier oil. So CBD is a tiny bit of it. It's too thick to put under your tongue, so you need a carrier oil. And I always recommend using hemp seed oil because it's from the same plant.
Okay.
There are vegetable oils, like you said. There could be MCT oil, which is a fractionated coconut oil that is processed. Could be just plain coconut, I guess. There could be safflower oil, sunflower oil. And then when you get into, there's one that is, grapeseed oil. And if you're going to give this to your pet, you want to make sure it's not grapeseed oil because dogs don't respond well to grapes.
Yeah.
I mean, they could kill them. So olive oil is another one. But we use hemp seed oil because it's the omega-3s and omega-6s work really well together with the CBD. So you get more benefits.
Okay. I think the click is actually your phone. Do you mind putting it down? Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. No, you're good.
Snapchats.
Snapchats. She's famous, everyone.
My grandchildren.
Yeah, nice. So, what would you suggest to somebody that is interested in trying CBD out? What's the best way to get started for somebody, and not to knock depression medication altogether? I know some medication that has worked wonders for people. That it's literally night and day with them, and it just isn't for everybody. I don't think it's for a lot of people, to be honest with you. If it wasn't for me, the people that it has worked for, I mean, they were suffering from very, very severe things that they were going through. So, if someone is taking, an alternative medication, what is the best way to start out?
If you're taking a medication, you want to be sure to not take it within an hour of your CBD, because your CBD oil will recognize that as a toxin and try to detox your body.
Okay.
So, I agree with you about the medications turning people into zombies.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for CBD to relieve some of those things, you want to choose, like I was saying, a type with only 2 or 3 ingredients. If they have other fillers in, like sugar, honey, glycerin, sucralose, all those things, they do not need that. You just need 2 or 3 ingredients. Ours also has terpenes, the natural terpenes from the plant, and then sometimes you can add a flavor. But you want to choose that, and then you start out low and slow. If you read the directions, did I say this before? They're federally regulated.
Yes.
And so
I think we talked about it, but not
I didn't say it on it. So it might say a dropperful 2 times a day. Well, that's 20 drops 2 times a day. You need 3 to 5 drops when you start, depending on the strength of your oil.
Okay.
So you want us to just start. Excuse me, with that.
Everyone always does that.
Choose your oil. When you go to take it, you want to squeeze the top so that the oil goes back into the bottle, and shake it really well.
Okay.
And then pull some oil up into the bottle. Look in the mirror, drop 3 drops, 5 drops. If it's a 500 milligram strength, you can start with 5 or 3 to 5, and then do that for a week.
Yeah.
You have an endocannabinoid system, so let that start to work.
Can you explain that to people, what the endocannabinoid system is?
Sure. And we abbreviate it ECS. So if you hear me say that, that's endocannabinoid system. It's a system in your body. You have receptors in your brain and all throughout all of your organs. There's trillions of them. I think they only discovered this in like the 90s.
Okay.
There's a lot of research on marijuana and CBD that has not been released to the public over the decades. Okay. But we just figured this, and there's more yet to learn, of course. So you have all of these receptors throughout your body, and they regulate the other systems in your body. You have all of the systems in your body, your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system, skeletal, all of these things throughout your body that if you're not taking CBD, your body creates some, but we need more. Back in the day, we got hemp in our diets. So after the hemp prohibition, we weren't feeding it to our cattle. We weren't getting it in our meat and our milk and things like that. So we are deficient. So your body is your ECS is kind of asleep until you start to wake it up.
Yeah.
So you want to start gradually with the drops under your tongue and let those receptors absorb it and just start to bring everything back into balance, into homeostasis. So that's why I said you might take it because of what you were suffering from, but later you might find out, oh, my hip doesn't hurt, or I have more energy, or I'm not craving sweets, or you know, all of these different things that can help you. Oh my, I don't need as I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
I
I can't
gotcha.
say that. So scratch that. Strike it from the record. So those kinds of things.
Yeah.
You know.
I got you. So when the prohibition began in the 20s, correct?
37.
The 1937. Now, I have heard that the reason was because that there was something written to either the House or the Senate or something. Anyway, but I digress here. But my understanding was there was a bunch of angry white people that wrote a letter that said blacks and Mexicans are smoking it and raping our women.
That's true.
Is that correct?
It is.
Isn't that madness?
Yes, it was called Reefer Madness.
Oh my gosh. But I think that's a lot of things that people don't realize, that this country was built on hemp. If I remember correctly, there was a story I read about the British, when we were still the colonies and not the United States yet, would come over here and they would have us mass produce hemp because our fields were so fertile at the time. You know, everything was good, and it really much sustained the economy of Britain at the time. And it wasn't just gold that our country was built on. It had a lot to do with the import or the exporting of hemp.
I didn't know that.
That's what I heard.
I believe that. I mean, it sustained our economy too. Every American would grow hemp, and they were required to grow it and send it to
England
DC or wherever.
Yeah.
And then that must be what they did with it. The first flag was made out of hemp. The first Bible was made out of hemp.
Wasn't the Declaration of Independence on
most
hemp paper?
likely?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's so cool. How did we get to this point of this banding of it?
So, because it was used for everything, there were people. Let's see. The corticator was invented, and that made the processing of hemp very, very fast. And back then, Popular Mechanics magazine said, "This is $1 billion industry." Okay, but then the key players, I have some names here. William Randolph Hearst, he was the newspaper guy. He was called a yellow journalist because it was like the tabloids. He didn't write facts. He was not a good guy back in the day.
Yeah, I know all about it.
We're not being recorded, are we?
Yeah, a little. I hope not. Hide your phone.
So he had just bought millions of acres of timber around this time. Now, that's going to threaten his newspaper because he doesn't want it made out of hemp. So he bought all this timber for his newspaper company. And he also is part of the Reefer Madness of spreading the bad news about what, marijuana and, the people were going crazy, and the blacks and the Mexicans and all of that.
Yeah.
There was Lamont DuPont. He had gotten a patent on synthetic petroleum types of things, which he wants, they're in the oil industry. The first car was made out of hemp and oil for gasoline, whatever would run the car.
Yeah.
It was a very clean way to run your car. And so that was messing with the oil industry. So the big oil guys, Andrew Mellon, and the patent, like I said about the patent with the synthetic products.
Yeah.
DuPont, and he was into pharmaceuticals too. Andrew Carnegie, pharmaceuticals, big money. Rockefeller, Standard Oil. So they all had a common enemy.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of hemp because they're going to cut our. So I think it was Andrew Mellon's son-in-law he appointed as the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. So he made short work of this. He's like, let's, get this reefer madness out there. Let's get some laws passed. They presented something to Congress. They thought that hemp was the same as marijuana. They didn't look into it.
Yeah.
How could they not? But so no public debate. They just banned it.
Huh.
And then they went around making sure no one was growing it and like terrorizing people.
Oh my goodness.
It's just
Now the prohibition started in 37. And then you see about 30 years later, around the late 60s, early 70s, marijuana, hemp kind of making a little bit of a comeback, more so marijuana than hemp, which I really think started a renaissance for my age, because when we grew up, we're listening, the music we were listening to, the things we're listening to is, oh, smoke weed. Why? Just smoke it.
Were you listening to our music or your new music?
Well, we were listening to new music at the time, which is now old.
Right. That happens.
That happens. But even listening to some of the older bands, Pink Floyd, now they were more psychedelics than anything, but some of the older bands that my dad would show me too, and I just remember he'd turn off songs sometimes when they were talking about things, and I'm just a kid. I'm like, I like this song. You like this song? Why can't I hear it? They're like, oh, well, grow up and find out they're talking about marijuana. So, but as that goes on, does it concern you that there has been a big push for recreational?
I have mixed feelings about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I feel strongly both ways.
Okay.
I know because I'm in this industry that people tell me that they smoke weed, and I'm like, really? You too? I'm like, everybody smokes weed, it seems, and I would hate to see them arrested. Yeah. But on the other hand, people don't know when to quit. They just don't smoke so much and all the time. Yeah. I mean,
I'm torn. I will always be a pro cannabis person just because of the qualities it does, not just medical, but I think that my personal opinion is smoking a joint is way less dangerous than having a beer, being at a bar, putting yourself in that position. I don't think you should drive on any type of medication whatsoever. So, with all that out, I know so many people that talk about this where, you just need to come home and just relax. What's the difference between coming home, smoking a joint, or just going to the fridge and grabbing a beer? And that's just always kind of been my stance on it. But what you're saying there too, with the increase of people don't know when to quit. I had read something years and years ago. I always tell this story to anybody when I have a cannabis conversation. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'm going to misquote it. You can look it up. But they had done a study with actual marijuana where they had a gentleman sit down and take, I believe it was 3 0.8 1 second puffs off of a joint. And then another person, they rolled a gram of marijuana into the joint, and they had the other person just smoke the entire thing to his liking, whatever it was. And what happened was there was enough cannabinoids that the person that only took the 3 hits, it filled up perfectly to where he needed to be. Like there was no euphoric thing happening to him, no psychedelic thing happening to him. Whereas the other gentleman, they had noticed that his brain had swollen to almost a level 3 concussion. And that's like when you get really fried, you feel that tightness in your head. Why that was never, looked into further, I'm not sure. But it was one of the things that I read where that was one of the big things where what made me stop smoking marijuana at the time was because I'm like, okay, there isn't enough study that they're doing on this portion of it to where, you could mess up your brain if you're consistently taking it over with anything that you do. You overstimulate with coffee, with caffeine, you overstimulate with sugar, all these bad effects come out of it. I believe that's the same way with cannabis and hemp and marijuana.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. That's the beauty of CBD. You can take it and still go to work and not be illegal, and get the relax. There was something in there I wanted to comment on. And a lot of marijuana users think that I think that's why they tell me they use it, because they don't want me to try to sell them CBD. I'm covered, but they're different. Yeah. Marijuana is high in THC and lower in cannabinoids. And then CBD is real high in cannabinoids and low in THC. I mean, you have to keep it below the legal limit.
Yeah. What is the legal limit? I believe it's 0.03.
Or 0.3%. 3%, so 0.03.
Oh, wait, it says it here. Yep, 0.3%.
So, but if you don't have the THC in your oil, you don't get that entourage effect. You don't get all the benefits. You need that. You need that. It's a cannabinoid also. Yeah. And then there's THC, like I don't know if they have little letters above it or numbers. There's
Different
variant.
types, yeah. That was the thing that always intrigued me about marijuana when I actually, stopped partying and started looking into what it was, the different strains, what they do, the strands that you have, that there are like, I don't even know how many, but so many different types of THC and what they do. And if you have one that's stronger than the other in a strain, it can cancel out absolutely everything that the cannabinoids the CBD is trying to do. So that was always I loved the science behind it. It was something that was always cool to me. So where can people because I think that the difference between marijuana and with CBD hemp is there are people out there that just want to chase a high, but to know the actual medical benefits that the CBD does in that, because I believe there's THC in like poppy seeds and things like that, correct? So our body does take in natural THC. So where would a limit be at that someone that wants to benefit medically? How can they best pick a product for them that would work best for them? So just for example, like for myself, like I loved smoking weed when I was a kid, so I love doing the CBD joints, the natural hemp flowers and everything. That's not for everybody though. So how can someone that has no idea what CBD is, has no idea how to do this, what's the best way for them to pick a product?
Talk to someone. If you talk to a representative who personally sells it, they can help you out with that. If you go to a store or a gas station or sometimes even a pharmacy, they might not know what you need. They should. Sometimes we'll go in and educate them.
Yeah.
Health food store may or may not, depending on the type.
Okay.
If it's a huge health food store, they might not know. Actually, I visited them and I'm like, this is not good. One a few miles away, an Amish store, and I'm like, come on, this is like from China or something. Do not buy this. Do not sell this. But so when you choose, sometimes you only need a 500 milligram. Like if you see a 250 milligram, that's for pets. You want to you have to. They'll sell it to you, like it's for humans, but it's really not strong enough. But a 500 milligram for what you suffer from is plenty, and less is more in that kind of a situation. So it is good to talk to someone, because if you take too much, it can heighten the problem. And also, if you've been on it a long period of time, you don't need more. You actually probably need less. Because you woke up your endocannabinoid system and now it's functioning better. And you're kind of in maintenance mode.
Yeah.
So if you have, a more severe illness or more discomfort, you might need a stronger oil. If you're taking the 500 and you get to where you're increasing each week till you get to a sweet spot and you get up to a full dropper, you might as well just get the next level up.
Yeah.
I usually do recommend our 1000 and just use a tiny bit because it's it's more cost effective. But
saves you money in the long run.
Right. You just got to be careful not to use too much. I might only use 4 drops at a time.
Just 4? What's usually the recommended?
You want to start at 3 to 5.
Okay.
But I take the 1000.
Okay.
And I switched brands, so I'm with one that only uses the tops. So I don't have all that dilution from the from the biomass, from the stems and the stalks.
How long have you been on CBD? That sounds so bad. Not on CBD. How long have you been
going
using
on
CBD?
It's almost 3 years.
3 years now?
Yeah.
What are some of the benefits that you have noticed with staying within the legal terms that we can use?
Right. I used to take something for muscle discomfort almost every day.
Okay.
I don't take that anymore.
Okay.
I haven't in 3 years.
Okay.
So I will use CBD. It kind of takes most of the edge off. Now, if I have a particularly busy physical day, I use the cream and I'll put it on my shoulders or on the back of my neck or on my arms. And when you put that on, it'll bring down the swelling and it will make the discomfort go away. And then you'll feel like, oh, that stopped hurting. Now it's hurting over here. So then I'll just put a little dab over there until I've got everything pretty much covered. And the first time I did that, I was like, this is going to come back. Like when you use something like Bengay, it comes back in a couple hours.
Yeah.
In a couple hours, I was like, that never came back.
Huh.
until the next time I overexercise,
Yeah.
work exercise. Then I'm like, I need it again, but it stops it. It's amazing.
What is your role then with the company? Are you like an advocate? Or are you almost like a personal trainer of this?
I'm a sales representative who supports their clients. So if I don't know the answer to your question, I'll help you find it out.
Okay.
I have a friend who sponsored me in the program. It's not a program. I don't know. But anyway, she is
It's not a program.
Follow.
Yeah.
She is super. She actually trains people and speaks publicly, and we're close friends. And if I don't know, I just ask, hey, Jen, do you know the answer to this?
Okay. And how long have you been in the CBD industry?
As long as I've been taking it. I wasn't taking it before I started getting into the industry. I just learned about it. And it was weird because like 3 different people approached me, you should use CBD. You should use CBD.
Yeah.
Within like a week or 2. And I was like, okay. And then the third one was about my pet too, my dog. He was limping and he needs CBD. But the third one was one who I had been in a network marketing company with years ago.
Okay.
And I was like, is this network marketing? She's like, yes, I'm in. I was already in a company with the weight loss and I love it. I've been a stay-at-home mom forever. Staying home is my jam, work from home.
I would love to do that.
Well, I'm hiring.
Oh, there we go. All right. I may have just found a new job on here.
So, you work together. You own your own business, but you work together.
But you still work together.
And don't quit your day job right away.
No, not right away. It would take a little bit. So, yeah, it's amazing how many benefits CBD has on so many things. Seizures is a big one. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching this video of this kid who suffered from, I think it was like seizures every day. And I can get into this too. This isn't really advocating CBD, but I had a friend growing up too who had seizures every day. And then he was just smoking marijuana. Seizures went away completely. The second that he stopped, he had a really bad one. And they were like, what did you do that made you not have these? And he had to admit it one day. He's just like, I just started smoking pot and I didn't have it again. And that's when they were like, huh. And I believe that the doctor looked into CBD for him, but it wasn't FDA approved or whatever they're doing nowadays. But it wasn't approved at the time for him to work. So he just had to keep buying marijuana. I haven't talked to him in a while, so I'm not sure if he's on CBD now after everything has been done. But going back to the kid I was watching, like I just remember flapping all over this couch, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And they just took 2 little drops.
Was her name Charlotte?
I believe so. Yeah. I think it was, and it was just right behind both, and just fine. It was crazy.
Yep. And then there was another girl who had the same issue, and her parents, because it wasn't legal yet, it was before the Farm Bill. Her parents actually sold their house and moved to that town so that they could try it, and it didn't work for her.
Really? Huh. What is the Farm Bill?
The 2018 Farm Bill, President Trump signed saying that it's legal to grow hemp and ship it state to state.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So is that why you've seen such a surgence of CBD?
I think it just, even before that was passed, you could still buy it.
Yeah.
I guess there was a pilot program going on.
Okay.
But he signed it into law. I think it just started to catch on. People started to use it, get results, share it.
Well, that's the thing. I can remember even back 10, 11 years ago, people were coming up to me telling me like, hey, we need to invest in hemp and marijuana. I'm like, well, I already do. But they're like, no, like for real, like this is something that's going to take off. And I didn't believe them at the time. I was just like,
it's like cryptocurrency.
I don't see. Yes, actually, while you bring that up, Miss Donna Mohr, I heard that you got into cryptocurrency as well.
I did.
We're talking a little bit about that.
Yep, I stuck my big toe in.
What made you do that?
I was watching the success of a friend of mine.
Okay.
Who also was in the first company I was with the first CBD company before I switched to this one.
Okay.
And she got into a crowdfunding platform with Ethereum. Mm-hmm. And I think she made $7,000 her first week, $30,000 her first month.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
So that's a crowdfunding.
How much does she make in a year?
She's only been in it 6 months. She's made $500,000.
$500,000?
She works it. I mean, this is not just investing. This is something different. You put.
Please tell me more.
Okay. She put a certain amount of money. She bought some Ethereum,
okay.
And then you get into a blockchain where you buy levels.
So Ethereum is one of the coins.
Ethereum is the number 2 coin. Bitcoin is number 1.
Okay.
Bitcoin.
I know Bitcoin.
I am in another one with Bitcoin, another crowdfunding. It has not launched yet.
Okay.
We're in pre-launch. It could be this week. And people have signed up under me for this platform, but signups are closed right now, but they'll reopen as soon as we launch. So back when I signed up, I think Bitcoin was like $25,000 a coin. When I signed up with Ethereum in October, it was $360 a coin.
Jeez.
Right now, Bitcoin. So if you just bought one coin, I mean, nobody buys a whole Bitcoin. You buy a partial Bitcoin. But if you had 25,000 and bought a Bitcoin, it would be worth 40,000 today. Like from December to now, February.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it fluctuates. You know, I didn't look today. It might be 39,000. Might be 44,000. I don't know. So the Ethereum that I bought for 360 is now worth like 18,000. 18,000. It was 360 a couple months ago.
Oh my gosh.
So if you just had some coins and you know, just let them sit there, they're going to increase. Like there's predicting possibly that Bitcoin could be 200,000 by the end of the year. So buy some, but
buy some. Jeez.
You can also buy it and get into the platforms where you're sharing the funding. And then there's also investing. So I just got into one where you're investing Ethereum.
Okay.
And you get a daily percentage, 1.4% for the small amount that I put in.
Yeah.
It's 3% if you put a lot more in every day. And then you can compound that.
Okay. So,
That's me.
that's you? Oh, that's fine.
Can I just...
Yeah. No, that's fine. There you go.
It's telling me where I'm supposed to be right now. Yeah, so I just entered, and so 1.4% on one Bitcoin, which is an $18,000. 1,800. Did I say thousand?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
I can't remember.
1,800.
1,800. Okay.
Went from 360 to 1,800.
To 1,800. Okay.
In case I said it wrong, I don't know.
I think you did say 1,000, but it's fine.
Okay.
So 1,800. So it went from 360 to 1,800.
Right.
That makes more sense.
Yes. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I was saying the.
Hey, listen, you're gonna trick me. I'm pretty dumb. I don't even know how to do any of this stuff. So.
I really don't either. I'm just learning as I go.
Okay.
And honestly, I just follow the directions and hope I didn't send the coin to the wrong place. And then it'll get better because I'm learning it.
Well, folks, if you hear that, if you sign up for CBD, you can make $500,000 in a year then because you're getting the Bitcoin. That's so cool. That is really cool. Do you have to leave?
No.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Because I think that the cryptocurrency is taking off so much, especially with things that are happening around the world, within the world. I believe that some of the dollar has been diminishing for at least a couple generations now. So what drives the cryptocurrency? Is it just the people continuously purchasing and putting into it? Or is there an actual backing behind it?
The actual coins are, I don't understand that. I don't know how it goes up all the time. But the crowdfunding that I'm in, it is because you sponsor people and the money is shared.
And they're sharing it.
Yes.
Okay.
So, when you don't sponsor, then that starts to dry up. So you want to keep it going.
Got you. Okay.
But you still have a ton of Ethereum or Bitcoin, and although the Bitcoin that is launching has an infinity line where you don't have to sponsor anybody. And so we'll see how that works. I'm hoping it does what they suspect it will. If it doesn't, and you can get in that for $50 for the first level, $100 for the second level, plus some fees. Okay. And you just watch it go.
You just watch it go.
And and I have a video if you want to watch it.
Yeah. Do you have one on you?
I do. I'm not sure if I can play that publicly or not.
Well, then we won't play it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I need to stay as less copyrighted as I possibly can.
Okay.
Because I've already been. So, do you think this is the currency of the future?
How do I know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just going to
go along with it until it happens.
Right.
Well, I was telling you before we started too. I have a friend too. She just started like 8 days ago and just pretty much tripled her money. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, do I jump on this bandwagon? I wait until things aren't cool anymore and then I jump on them, or I started way too early and then it becomes cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a low investment.
Yeah.
You can do it that way.
Just start off at a level and it just goes up. It keeps going in. Do you have to keep putting in or you just watch it go up?
No, I didn't. I put in $360 and I have funded all of these other ones with my earnings.
With your earnings. Okay. So you can take your earnings and then fund other people, but that in essence, that's your investment to raise your stock.
Yes,
or
but
coin.
we can't say investment.
Okay.
Except in the one that is an investment. The other ones are crowdfunding.
So they're crowdfunding. Okay.
Yes.
So you are crowdfunding people and then investing in the other.
Right.
Okay. Makes sense.
So yeah, it'll automatically. I mean, it's rising.
Okay.
Bitcoin and Ethereum are rising. Actually, I got into Tron too.
I heard about Tron. I hear all these crazy names all over the place, and I'm like, what are you guys investing in?
But
Decepticons?
It's like 4 cents a coin right now, or
Oh
24 cents. Maybe it's up to 24 cents.
So it's like the penny stock of.
But that's how Bitcoin started. I don't know that this one will take off, but we're actually going to work it and possibly buy Ethereum with the earnings.
With the earnings of it. That is smart, Miss Donna. Yeah. I like the way you think. Is it exciting to do it?
Oh
is
my
it
gosh.
like fun?
Yeah, it is so fun.
I think it'd be fun. I don't know. I gamble too much though, so
Yeah, you don't want to put in anything more than you're willing to lose. I have $360 invested, so but in the crowd, it generates thousands if you
keep getting into it.
Yeah.
Just
if you want to do it, just let me know. I'll show you the ropes.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody. Hey.
Yeah, anybody at all. She's got you. So, back to the CBD real quick. Because I know you brought some notes. Is there anything that we didn't go over that you wanted to discuss to anybody?
Or
to anybody?
Yeah, that's we did that low and slow. And another thing with the servings, you want to make sure you take it long enough. If people say, "Oh, it didn't work for me," you want to look at what they're taking, how much they're taking, how consistently they're taking it, and how long did they take it. You can't just take a couple drops a couple times a week and then quit and say it didn't work for me. Give it a good 3 months and do it consistently twice a day. You want to keep it in your system.
Okay.
So that's good.
Morning and afternoon.
Yeah.
Probably best. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And put it by your toothbrush. So you remember to take it.
Oh, good tip.
Yeah. Or set an alert in your phone. I do tend to forget mine.
Okay.
And then, like the other night, I was like, something bad's going to happen. I get this feeling of impending doom. I'm like, I forgot my CBD oil.
Yeah.
It's imaginations, I mean, of course you can pray and all of that, but I noticed, that I was getting like that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I better take some drops.
Better take some drops, and then the impending doom that is upon us is going away.
Yeah, it really isn't. Like, there is some impending doom happening, but I'm not going to worry about it because I can't change it.
There you go.
The COAs, those are called certificates of analysis. So make sure when you choose an oil that you know what's in the bottle and what isn't in the bottle.
Okay.
It'll tell you the potency, the levels of CBD, CBN, CBG, CB, all the other little numbers that go with it.
Okay.
It'll tell you about the terpenes. It'll tell you if there's heavy metals, solvents. We test for all of those things. Not everybody does.
Okay.
There's filth. There's microbials. There's mold. You can test for butane and propane. So we do CO2 extraction. So there's no chemicals to extract it either. But many companies do it a cheaper way, and that's with chemicals. And there's a residual. They try to get them out after it's processed.
Yeah.
And if you do a lab test, you can see if there's a residual of any kind of, butane or
anything in there.
propane. I mean, the actual propane could be in your CBD oil.
Wow.
And so you don't want to be dropping that under your tongue.
No.
Yeah, I think that's some of the things I want to.
Most of the things you want to talk about. So it doesn't just come in oil either. You were gracious enough. Thank you. I got some chocolates here as well. I'm going to enjoy that.
Those are salted caramels. That's the best caramel you will ever eat. Evans Candy.
Evans Candy.
Near Willow Street.
Nice. That's really awesome.
Gosh.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, but they do the CBD candy. They do the gummies. There's been chocolates, cookies. I mean, pretty much, back in the day we were just cooking weed brownies, but now we can actually monitor this stuff to a point. So how do you, I don't know if you ever tried them. Have you tried them?
What?
The brown, or not the brownies, probably, but the gummies, yes. Any of those.
I have tried gummies. Here's the thing. They're great, I guess, for kids, but the gummies we had weren't really I don't think kids would have liked them. They were kind of hard. Not hard, but they weren't like what kids are used to.
Like a gummy consistency.
So if you want to make them healthy, you have to, I don't know. But the difference is when you take something and ingest it, it's got to go into your digestive system before it gets into your bloodstream. So it's going to take another 45 minutes or an hour to get working. Whereas if you drop it under your tongue,
it's right there.
It's in your bloodstream.
Okay.
So I highly recommend that. If you have someone with a diagnosis who won't let you open their mouth and put something in, use the gummies.
Okay.
And there's gel caps you can buy too. But they're so handy. I was using those for a while.
Yeah.
Because the other company brought them out.
Okay.
Launched them, and I wanted to use them to talk about them.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. You still have, but it was easier for me to remember.
Okay.
Although I take a slew of vitamins too, and I don't always remember to take them either.
Yeah, I'm horrible with just taking my regular vitamins on the daily.
Exactly. Right.
So you mentioned the cream too, and yes. My chiropractor actually carries CBD cream. I didn't read the ingredients. I should probably do that the next time I use it. But he gave me some samples, and it, like you said, when you did that, I had no pain. I had no muscle tenseness. I usually do after I go to the chiropractor. I was in a really bad car accident in 2010, so I have a lot of neck issues. It'll just stiff up on me, and that was one of the things that I noticed. I would use, like you said, the pain relief rubs and other things they offer. It wasn't until I used this free sample, and I got a couple of them, so I was using it consistently for, I'd say, about 3 weeks. My gosh, no pain. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Yep.
It's absolutely wild to me.
It is, and that doesn't go in your bloodstream, so the ingredients will be a little bit different. But it just stops the ache.
Just stops the ache.
It does.
So you are a fellow believer.
Mm-hmm.
So something I wanted to talk to you about was this, and you can answer this in any way that you want to.
Okay.
How is it trying to describe this, what you do, to other believers? And I bring that up because now my arguments were always more on the marijuana side growing up, trying to convince mom it's good. But
she already knew that.
Yeah, she actually did know that already. That's why she didn't want me to smoke it.
Exactly.
But for me, I try to come at this subject with as much grace as I possibly can, because normally you think when you would tell a fellow believer about weed and something that is from it, automatically they say it's the devil's lettuce, or it's from, it gets you high, and we go into a very big long verse trail. And I try to explain to them the benefits of CBD. I believe that there are a lot of fellow Christians out there that want to try it but aren't, because of what they've been told religiously. I think that you can be a testament to some of those people with the benefits that it does, how long you've been taking it, and I don't believe that it has hindered your relationship with God at all, has it?
No, other things have, though. Yeah. I have some friends who have, children on the THC side that it has caused some problems.
Yeah.
So I need to be very careful about that. Well, I don't advocate for that anyway, necessarily, especially for young people.
Yeah.
But as far as CBD, a lot of Christians use it. I think we're maybe 2 years past everybody's thinking it's not okay.
Okay.
But there are a few. I know someone that I have talked to who is a pastor who was just like, I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fine, keep the pain in. That wasn't very nice.
I think I think it's the culture shock of it. I think the marijuana train kind of just came crashing through the doors back in the early 2000s, and people didn't know how to handle it. And now that we are reintroducing hemp back into society, the first thing people think about is marijuana, get you high. And we're not actually looking into the medical benefits of it because, like you said earlier, there are medical benefits to THC as well. It just has to be used properly. It's the same thing with the CBD. The CBD obviously is going to be the safer alternative to the THC. But that's where you have, I think, a lot of debates on why we aren't just regulating this and making it legal everywhere for everybody to use.
Marijuana.
In general, yes. Mm-hmm. And not even the fact of for the recreational purpose. I mean, for medical. the medical, the paper, the products that are made with it, like we said, back in the 30s, it was used almost for everything, and now we're trying to reintroduce that. I think it's scaring a lot of big corporations. I think that's one reason they're not legalizing it, because I think once you do legalize it recreational, then you have to end up legalizing it everywhere else.
Yeah. One big problem with that is the cigarette companies are already ready to take over.
Yeah.
So it's an industry that, people aren't actually going to possibly be able to get involved in.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like, stop. But with CBD, you can drink this whole bottle. You wouldn't get high. So back to that initial question, there's not enough in there, even in the whole bottle.
Yeah.
You just need that entourage effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you say legalize it, and I kind of don't even like it being managed like by the government.
Yeah.
They're going to mess it up.
Yeah. Preach on that. Well, they are. It's like you said with the cigarette companies. There was already it is legal in a part of Mexico, recreational wise. I was there in 2020. Marlboro already has a pack of marijuana hemp cigarettes down there. I'm like, it's just a matter of time before it would come up here, and then you have no idea what you're getting. Like tobacco in and of itself isn't the dangerous part. It's all the additives and everything that you put into it. I had an uncle that smoked pipe tobacco, actual picked off pipe tobacco, didn't die from lung cancer or the things that would normally come with smoking tobacco, it would seem. And that is where I'm like, okay, what are they doing? Well, they're trying to make you addicted to it. So what's the step for marijuana? A very non-addictive component. How are you going to get people addicted to it?
Exactly. What are they going to add to it?
I think it's just a bunch of bull crap. When it gets into the hands of big pharma or any type of companies, then we're just like, oh boy, here we go. Mm-hmm. I hope that doesn't happen, though.
Right.
I would hope so. One, for your sake, with what you're doing.
Right, exactly.
Because what you do is amazing. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, to explain this to people, because I don't think a lot of people know about CBD. And what's the actual name for it? It's
cannabidiol.
Cannabidiol, that's it. I mean, you throw that word out there and people are like, what? And then we're like, well, CBD. Like, no, that's weed.
Right.
But what you do is amazing. And the people that you have that I've seen over your Facebook Lives, your company and everything like that, have benefited from it amazingly. Things that they've suffered with for years of their life.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And you want, the thing about what I do is you have a personal consultant. I don't try to push anything on anybody or sell it to them. If you don't want it, okay.
Yeah.
Don't be embarrassed or to ask questions. But you have to know what to buy and what you're using it for and what to expect and how long to wait and not to give up and have someone to talk to that, like, oh, that's right. I haven't been taking it at night. I keep forgetting, just bouncing things like that off of someone.
Yeah.
And we mostly text. I mean, I don't get on the phone anymore.
Okay.
It's really great.
Yeah. Just send a message away. Be like, have you been taking your CBD today? Oh,
Right.
no, forgot. Thank you.
Right, exactly.
That's so cool. Where can people find you at if they want to inquire about purchasing any CBD or just having you as a sales rep to help them through their CBD journey?
You can find me on Facebook
Okay.
at Donna Hughes, Hewes, Mohr, Mohr. That's my handle. And my website is donnasdrops.com.
donnasdrops.com. Okay. I'll have that in the link in the description below. And if they are interested in hearing more about Bitcoin and not Bitcoin, I'm sorry, the cryptocurrency,
Just message me.
just message you.
You can put my phone number out or just find me on Facebook. I don't know where this is. I guess, yeah, if you're not on Facebook.
Yeah. This will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms. So I will just put your Facebook. And
Okay.
if you
They can
want
find
to find her and ask her any more questions about CBD and or the cryptocurrency, then just give her a private message. And I'm sure she would be glad to answer you because she answered me pretty quick to come on here. So that was good.
Well, I've been married to my phone since 2012 when I started the weight loss company. So I'm there.
So you're there.
I answer right away unless I'm doing this, like my phone's probably blowing up over there.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I thank you so much for coming on. It was great information. I am so just excited to see where CBD goes, and for you. I mean, it's only been 3 years. Who knows what's going to happen over the next 10 years with it?
Right.
So it was an honor and a pleasure to get to meet you.
You too.
And be
Thank
able to
you.
talk about this. I'd love to have you back on and then maybe another 6 months and you'll be a millionaire.
Keep dreaming.
Keep on dreaming. Well, guys, as always, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We are available on YouTube at Wallis Productions, WALLESS Productions. You can find any of the video versions on there too. As always, there's a Patreon account below if you like what we're doing here and feel in your heart to give. I thank you all. I love you all for the wonderful support. I cannot wait to get more people like Miss Donna on here to be able to give you awesome information. And it's just been a great ride. My friend, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Bye.